Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Sarah Yu. I'm show host Dr. Sarah Yu show for today's America and the world, as well as Dr. Sarah Yu show, Dr. Sarah for Congress and Dr. Sarah for Senator. Today, I have a great expert to long-term healthcare industry. Mr. Matthew here is welcome. Hi, Mr. Matthew, welcome.
Glad to be with you today.
Great. Thank you so much accepting my invitation for the show. And my audience, they want to know about you. I have a few questions, especially about long-term health care as well as yourself. So first question is, tell about yourself. What is your passionate and what is your expert?
Well, thank you for having me on your show. Really happy to be here. I'm a long-term care specialist. I've been helping people plan for the physical, emotional, and financial burdens that come with long-term health care since 1998. I'm licensed in every state and the District of Columbia. I'm also a nationally known speaker on long-term health care issues. I work with federal and state legislators on long-term health care, and I am also publisher of ltcnews.com. It's one of the leading consumer-faced websites dealing with aging, caregiving, long-term health care planning, retirement, health issues, and that sort of thing. I got into the business because my mom at age 59 ended up in a nursing home. So I saw firsthand what happened to my family because of the impact of long-term health care. And now that I've been doing this, I help families nationwide not only plan for long-term health care, but as they go on claim, deal with the claims and help them make sure that they have access to their choice of quality health care.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Introduction yourself. Second question is, tell me about more long-term healthcare. What is a long-term healthcare as well as all the benefit? Yeah.
Well, when we talk about long-term health care, we're primarily talking about help with what we call activities of daily living. These are all the things we kind of take for granted today that we had to learn how to do as an infant. Eating, bathing, dressing, going to the bathroom, moving from point A to point B. That at some point, either due to an illness, accident, or just the impact of aging, that we need help and assistance with, or we require supervision due to a cognitive impairment. And there are hundreds of different types of dementia. Of course, Alzheimer's is the most famous of them all. Our health insurance that we have right now, and then later Medicare, and whatever Medicare supplement we'll have once we're 65, pay little or nothing toward long-term health care. And that's the problem, doctor, in that many people are unaware of this, and then they get older or a loved one needs care, and they find out that they're going to be responsible for paying the care, unless, of course, they have little or no income and assets. And then the Medicaid program will pay. But of course, with Medicaid, there's always a quality of care problem with that. You have to be in a Medicaid approved facility. There are some states that have some limited community care for Medicaid, but that's the problem. And being prepared, obviously, is absolutely essential.
Great, great. Thank you so much, sir. That tell me about what is the federal registration program? What is that? Yeah.
Well, the long term care partnership program is a program that was passed as part of the Deficit Reduction Act of '05 that President Bush signed into law. It allowed the remaining states from the four original states that started testing the program years prior to adopt this program. And currently, there are 45 states that have approved the partnership program. What the partnership program does, if you have a qualified partnership long term care insurance policy, is provide what we call dollar for dollar asset protection, or what a state bureaucrat would refer to as asset disregard. So, in the event someone were to exhaust all the money from their long term care policy, they'd be able to legally shelter part of their estate based on the total amount of benefits paid out by the policy and still qualify for Medicaid. So kind of think of it as a safety net that no matter what happens, you would never lose everything. Remember, otherwise, to qualify for Medicaid, you have to have little or no income and assets. So even a small long-term care policy provides substantial asset protection for those that have a partnership long-term care policy.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Dad. As I know, you are learning LTC program, right? Can you tell me detail about that?
The tax program are you talking about?
Yeah, LTC program.
Yeah, the LTC tax. The state of Washington has approved a tax on individuals age 18 and older on 100% of earned income if they do not own a long-term care policy. The tax starts in July of 2023, and now California and New York have proposed their own programs, and those are expected to get to the governor sometime in 2022 or early 2023. The problem, of course, with the tax is for some people, since it's on 100% of earned income, it's an expensive tax. And then you have young people that are normally not thinking about long-term care, starting their careers or even working to save for college and that sort of thing, paying a tax for long-term care. Now, they don't call it a tax. They call it a long-term care benefit because, who's going to complain about a benefit? But what it provides is about $36,500 for long-term health care. Well, in states like Washington or California, where you are, or New York or Illinois or Michigan, a lot of these states, long-term health care is expensive. $36,000 isn't going to pay for a whole lot of care. So this is really about taxing individuals. And the reason for that, of course, is they want to shore up the Medicaid program. The Medicaid program, for those that don't know, is a joint federal state program that is designed to pay for health care for the poor. It has become the biggest payer of long term health care in the United States. And of course, that's wonderful for people with little or no assets to start with. But a lot of people who have not planned for any long term care spend down all their savings and ended up on Medicaid. So they lose everything. So the states are grabbing, trying to find what they can do to fund Medicaid. So what they're doing is this punitive tax to put money in the coffers of the states to pay for long-term health care. Again, they don't call it a tax, they call it a long-term care plan, but that's in name only. $36,000 in benefits is going to pay very little long-term health care, especially in a state like California, where the average cost of care for let's say for a nursing home is well over $100,000. But assisted living, adult daycare, and home care is also very expensive. So people need to understand what it is. It's a tax. It is not a plan for long-term health care.
Oh, great. Thank you so much sharing all detail that. Uh, Tell me about issues. I know you haven't, many issues experienced those during your, long-term care specialty. So tell me about those issue first and then solution too. Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest issue for people as they prepare for the retirement is the understanding that long-term health care is a real problem. And we kind of are all in a little bit of denial on aging. Yet, aging's a real thing. With the advances in medical science, we're all getting older, and that's not a bad thing. But as we get older, we start seeing declining health, mobility problems, frailty if you're really old, of course. And of course, people know about the problem with Alzheimer's and dementia. More and more people are being diagnosed with cognitive impairment. And of course, that comes with, of course, that we're all living to older ages. So when you need help with activities of daily living or supervision, what do? Well, traditional health insurance and, of course, Medicare and whatever Medicare supplement you'll have once you're 65 only pay 100 days of skilled care. They're not a solution for most long-term health care, which is what we call custodial care, which is that help with those activities of daily living or supervision that go on and on and on. So what happens is family members often have to quit their jobs and become caregivers. They're untrained and unprepared for that role. They have to try to juggle their job and their spouses and their children and other family responsibilities with that of being a caregiver. That doesn't last long. It's not good for the care recipient. It's not good for the family caregiver. So you bring in professional care, and that's expensive. And unless you have access to a lot of money or long-term care insurance, it can be devastating. So what I recommend for people that I talk with, if they have assets to protect, is long-term care insurance. And long-term care insurance will provide guaranteed tax-free resources to pay for any type of long-term health care, including care at home. This not only protects assets, it gives you access to your choice of quality care, and probably just as important is it really gives your family the time to be family. You know, it's really difficult unless you've gone through it yourself, dealing with an older parent or other family member that needs help. It's very demanding. There's emotional things to consider. And I think most of us want our loved ones to be loving and supportive and not having to do everything because they have their own lives. So those with long-term care insurance have that access to quality care. So when you have a policy, your family can concentrate on being loving and supporting as opposed to dealing with everything.
Great, great. Thank you so much, sharing for that. The thank you for all the sharing those solutions. Now I wanted to know about what is your 5 years goal to which how we can collaboration that. Yeah.
Well, geez, what am I going to be doing in 5 years? Well, I am very passionate in what I do, in both helping individuals plan. Now that the COVID thing has kind of calmed down, I'm getting back in doing speeches around the country. LTC News is delivering a lot of tools and resources for people, not just in the United States, but worldwide on long-term health care. So I want to continue to help uh, people plan. I want to make sure that politicians understand the real problems about long-term healthcare planning. I want to promote tax incentives to encourage people to plan on their own as opposed to relying on the government or having the government add yet another tax. Most of us are taxed enough. I think a lot of us agree about that. And I want to be able to do that nationwide and worldwide because this is a global issue. Long-term health care is a problem across the globe, and the world is aging. And in some countries, um, older people are not as valued as they are in other countries. In the United States, I think that's a problem. We need to value our older generations. We need to ensure that they have access to quality care. And I think we need to help people plan so they can enjoy those older ages and their families can be supportive and loving. That's what I want to be doing in the next 5 years.
Great. Thank you so much. Those area you're passionate. So many people benefit because of you. You are the training, your LTC program, as well as many, long-term program education you do. I'm honor your life contribution that. So how we can reach you?
Well, my personal website, the easiest way to get to me is radioltc.com. That's radioltc.com. That'll take you directly to my website. And then, of course, LTC News is ltcnews.com. That has a lot of tools and resources and information. But to reach me, and of course, I am licensed in every state and the District of Columbia, that's radioltc.com.
Great. I have my personal maybe question for you because everyone become older, right? What age they should take a long-term health care? Of course, younger age is better, the
Yeah, yeah.
premium low, but more benefits. So tell me, what is the younger person's long-term care benefit in the long-term partner programs? Yeah.
Most of my clients are in their 50s. And I think that's a good time to planning because your health is still relatively good. Premiums are low. In the States with the tax, I was helping people in their 20s with long term care insurance because, you have people at that age in the high tech industry there working for Google and Meta and other, Boeing and all that at young ages making a lot of money. But generally speaking, when we're younger, we have other responsibilities. We're saving for college for our children and that sort of thing. But by the time we get into our late 40s and early 50s, now we're kind of geared toward, okay, final retirement planning. You can see the finish line sometime down the road. That is really the ideal time to look at long term healthcare planning.
Thank you so much. All the information has, long-term health care, and then your time and your contribution for community. And thank you for coming my show.
I loved it. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm glad I could spend this time with you.